Have you ever thought about running a marathon but at the speed of a sprint? Sounds kind of impossible, right? Well, that's the powerful metaphor at the very heart of India's latest economic survey. It perfectly captures the incredible mix of speed and stamina needed right now. So let's get into it. So, right off the bat, the survey throws this really interesting puzzle at us. On one hand, you have India's economy just firing on all cylinders, growing incredibly fast. But then, the chief economic advisor says the country is punching below its weight. So, how on earth can both of those things be true? That's the big question we're going to unpack. And this really sets the stage perfectly. It's a tale of two realities. You've got this booming, energetic domestic economy, but it's heading straight into some of the toughest global headwinds we've seen in a long, long time. This clash, this tension, that's what this whole story is about. Which brings us right to what the survey calls the 2025 paradox. And it really is a paradox, this massive contradiction between what's happening inside India's borders and what's going on in the rest of the world. Okay, so here's the deal. It's like India has been acing every test, following all the old rules for success. Its economic performance is literally the best it's been in decades. But here's the twist. The global system has completely changed the rules of the game. So all that success isn't automatically bringing in the rewards it used to, like a stable currency or huge waves of foreign investment. All right, so before we dive into the global storm clouds, let's just take a minute to appreciate how well India's domestic engine is actually running. This is the good news part of the story, and believe me, it is seriously impressive. For starters, get this. The survey has actually revised India's potential growth rate upwards. We're not talking about just one good year here. We're talking about the economy's fundamental underlying capacity, now pegged at a sustained 7% growth. For an economy of India's size, that is a massive, massive number. And you might be thinking, okay, but is this just growth from reckless spending? Nope. Actually, it's the opposite. The government set a pretty ambitious target for its fiscal deficit. That's the gap between what it spends and what it earns. And then it went and beat that target. This is exactly the kind of financial discipline that makes international investors sit up and take notice. And what's really cool is that the world is noticing. In 2025, not one, not two, but three different rating agencies gave India a credit upgrade. And the one from S&P, that was the first time a major agency had done that in almost 20 years. I mean, think about that. That's a huge stamp of approval. Okay, so inside India's house, things are looking pretty good, pretty orderly. But the moment you step outside, whoa, the picture changes, and it changes fast. The survey paints this really stark image of a world just filled with flashing red warning signs. The survey lays out three possible ways the world could look in 2026. And check this out, the best case scenario isn't stability, it's called managed disorder. And the chance of that, or something even worse, called a disorderly breakdown, is nearly 90% combined. That's before we even get to the third, and frankly scariest scenario, a systemic shock cascade. And just to make sure this doesn't sound like some abstract threat, the survey points to something very real. It quotes this Financial Times piece about the huge, potentially unstable financial bets being made on AI. We're talking over $120 billion of spending being hidden off the books. If that bubble bursts, it could trigger a chain reaction that makes the 2008 financial crisis look small. So, what do you do when you're facing a world that looks this dangerous? Well, the survey is very clear. Just making small tweaks here and there is not going to cut it. What's needed is a fundamental strategic pivot, a whole new way of thinking. And we are right back to our main idea. This isn't just a catchy phrase, this is the actual strategy. It means you have to go full speed ahead on domestic growth. That's the sprint. While at the exact same time, you're building the deep, long-term strength you need to survive any global shock. That's the marathon. So how in the world do you actually do that? The survey's big answer is for India to become an entrepreneurial state. Now, this isn't about the government running businesses. It's about a whole new philosophy of policymaking. Instead of waiting around to see what the next big thing is, an entrepreneurial state jumps in before anyone knows for sure. It takes smart risks, invests in foundational technologies, and learns really quickly from its experiments. It's about shaping the future, not just reacting to it. Now, a huge piece of this new strategy is a laser focus on manufacturing. Look, India's services exports are a massive success story, no doubt. But the survey points out something fascinating. The services sector is so efficient it can often just work around problems in the system. Manufacturing, though, it's different. To build things at a world-class level, you are forced to upgrade everything: your ports, your regulations, the whole shebang. And it's that deep system-wide improvement that gives you real strategic power in a stable currency. And all of this brings us to the final and maybe the most profound part of the survey's introduction. It frames this moment not just as an economic problem to be solved, but as a deep philosophical choice for the entire nation. The chief economic advisor actually wraps up his preface with this powerful verse from the ancient Upanishads. It describes a choice we all face, the choice between Priya, which is what's easy and comfortable right now, and Shreya, which is the harder path that leads to lasting good. The message is crystal clear. To navigate this complicated world, India has to choose the harder path, the enduring good, over and over again. And so that brings us full circle. But now we really get what's at stake. India clearly has the economic momentum. That engine is absolutely roaring. But in a world this fragile and unpredictable, just being big isn't enough. The real question is one of will and wisdom. Can the nation make those tough Shreya choices to finally turn its incredible economic might into true, enduring strategic power?